Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about what it's like being a landlord. So, today I have 10 tips for you. If you stick around all the way to the end of the video, I'll give you 2 bonus tips. So, make sure you stick around. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel, Escape the Matrix. My channel is about escaping the 9 to 5 life, escaping the working 40 years to retire at 65 life. So if you want to escape that sort of life, make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep watching. Just so you guys know, I'm not lying and I really am a landlord. I manage this whole property and I also rent out not just the property, but also the garage back there. See it? That too. Everything is for rent. Okay, so the first tip I have for you guys as newer landlords is that make sure you have money set aside. That money set aside is for any emergencies that may pop up. You never know what could go wrong, but if you don't have the money to actually get it fixed, then you're going to be in some deep trouble. If you are wondering about the change in outfit, I am going to a wedding, so I still wanted to make this video for you. I'm in the parking lot, literally, of the venue, making this video for you guys. So if you guys do appreciate that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. The second tip I have for you guys as new landlords is to make sure that you do an extensive screening process. So this means background checks, credit reports, not just credit scores. Get their whole credit report, see how they have been paying off their other debts, and that will be a good indicator of how they'll pay you off. Also, when it comes to verifying their employment, I wouldn't go with the number that they give. I would actually go and Google the name of the company and then find the number, call the number, ask to speak to a manager, and then get the verification like that instead of just going based off their word or calling a number that they gave as a reference. Also, make sure to clarify how you are going to accept payments. Whether that's via check, via Zelle, via cash, however it is. I personally prefer Zelle as my favorite because it is the quickest and it is also the way that you don't actually have to interact with your tenants and they can just send it to your bank account. You don't have to wait 3 to 4 days. You don't have to go and pick up a whole bunch of cash and then carry the cash to go to the bank with the cash, putting yourself in possible dangers. So accepting it via Zelle or other online forms of payment would be the best way, in my opinion. But just make sure you clarify it from the beginning so there's no confusion later. The third piece of advice I have for you guys is to make sure your apartment is in tip-top shape before you go and rent it to a tenant. You don't want to rent it to somebody and then a week later they're calling you about problems. If you do all the preventative maintenance and take care of your property, you won't have any problems once the tenants do move in and you'll be just collecting cash without doing much repairs. The fourth piece of advice I have for you guys is to build a network of people that can do your repairs for you. That's anywhere from handymen to electricians to plumbers. You never know what could go wrong in your house, and if you don't have a network of people ready to go just in case something does go wrong, you're going to be looking and your tenants are not going to be happy. The fifth piece of advice I have for you is to make sure whenever there's something wrong in the house, make sure you fix it in a reasonable amount of time, and that's why you want to have those professionals available, especially if you have good tenants. You don't want to have them waiting forever for a repair. You want to take care of them just like they take care of you by paying the rent on time. You want to make sure you take care of them and you want to make sure you take care of the property. You don't want to be a slumlord. By the way, these problems and these issues that can occur, a lot of them can be eliminated by hiring a property manager. But in the event like myself where it's not worth it to hire a property manager for my particular building because 10% of the rents in my building is about $500 a month and I'd rather collect that $500 a month by myself instead of give it to somebody else, especially based on the amount of time I put in the property. It's not that much, so to give up $500 for not that much time, I definitely am not hiring it out. But in certain circumstances it may be worth it for you, and that can take away a lot of these issues. In the event you don't have a property manager, the sixth tip here can definitely help you because it can mentally prepare you for what you might have to do. So sometimes it's just not possible for you to get someone to come in for a job, especially when it's small, like changing light bulbs, changing maybe a door handle, maybe changing some locks, and it's honestly just not even worth it to actually call someone to come and fix that when you can fix it yourself. It's not that hard to learn, but you should be prepared to do some of that quote unquote dirty work. The seventh piece of advice I have for you guys is to remain professional at all times. Sometimes you may get into it with some of your tenants. You have to remember that this is a business and you have to run it like a business. And running it like a business means remaining professional even if someone angers you. So remember to always remain professional. The ninth tip I have for you guys is to make sure you set the price of your apartment reasonable to what the market is demanding. You don't want to overprice your apartment, but you don't want to price it too low either. You want to price it right at the sweet spot. And a great tool for you to actually get that price is a tool called Rentometer. It will tell you the median rent that your area demands. If you don't want to do that, you can always go to your trusted realtor, have him get a market comparison for you. The ninth tip I have for you guys is to make sure you always put in late fees into your lease. This will encourage your tenants to pay the rent on time. Even if they don't pay rent on time, the system that I like doing it is if they pay 5 to 12 days late, I'll only charge them 5% as a late fee. If they pay 12 to 20 days late, I'll charge them 7.5% as a late fee. And if they're 20 to 25 days late, then I'll charge them a max fee of 10%. So doing this encourages your tenants to pay your rent quicker, and even if they are late, they're still encouraged to pay it as soon as possible, because the longer they wait, the more they pay in fees. So that will definitely encourage them to pay it on time, and even if they are late, they'll pay it as soon as possible. Thank you guys for staying throughout the video so far. The 10th tip I have for you guys is to always require your tenants to get renter's insurance. You want to have this in place in case there is a leak, in case anything goes wrong in the home where a tenant's belongings gets damaged, and you don't want to end up being liable for it. By requiring renter's insurance in the lease, they are now responsible for it themselves, and they can get it taken care of by renter's insurance. Alright guys, I appreciate you guys sticking throughout the video, and as promised, I have 2 additional tips for you guys. Tip number 11 would be to always factor in additional expenses other than your mortgage. Something like capital expenditures, regular monthly repairs, any utilities you might have, your water bills, landscaping, things like that should always be factored in, because a lot of the times people just think about their mortgage and not the other expenses. So make sure you factor those in when you are running your numbers. The last tip I have is to make sure you get educated. Read a whole bunch of books. Read books like Landlording on Autopilot by Michael Butler, Multifamily Volume 1 by Brandon Turner. Amongst other books, you can look up landlording books and make sure you get educated. Oh, also on a side note, if you are inheriting tenants, make sure you screen them just like you would a brand new tenant. I don't care if you're inheriting them, I would still do all those checks as if they were a brand new tenant. Thank you guys so much for sticking throughout the video. I hope this video helps you guys a lot. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you smash that like button. Let's enjoy this journey of escaping the matrix together.